Hello everyone. Now we will start with our fifth unit. As I already sent you some theoretical part of this unit, like very basic concepts of programming paradigms. I hope you all read it. The second point of this unit, which is features of object-oriented programming, that we are going to see. Before going to start with these features of object-oriented programming, I want to discuss with you what is meant by object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming is nothing but the one of the programming style which is used or to avoid some drawbacks of the previous programming styles. This object-oriented programming style is used by the programmer. What is this object-oriented programming? With the increase in size and complexity of the programs, there was a need for the new programming language. New programming language or new programming style that could help to developing maintainable programs. So to implement this, the flaws in previous paradigms like structure oriented, procedure oriented or monolithic programming style, this is the corrected one. It treats means this object oriented programming treats data as a critical element in the program development and restrict its flow freely around the system. For example, just consider a list of numbers stored in an array. Array is a collection of similar elements. Suppose there is a list of 10 numbers. That list is nothing but the collection of 10 numbers, means this is an array of 10 numbers, and we have to find out the largest number, or we have to sort this particular list. So in normal procedure oriented or structure oriented programming paradigm, to do this task means or to find out the largest number from this list or to sort this list, we require the function or procedure as a part of our program. So we can call that function or that procedure on that particular array of 10 numbers, so that we will get the exact output. But in object oriented programming, the list and the associated operations, means that sorting or finding out the largest number, are treated as a one entity known as object. Okay, means object is data and functions with that data. Both entity or the data and operations are treated as a single entity, and that entity is known as object. So in object oriented programming, if I want to sort or if I want to find out the largest number from the array of 10 numbers, the list is considered as a single object, and in that list it consists with the array of 10 numbers along with a collection of functions or procedures, or you can say routines, for manipulating the list. In the list object, there may be routines for adding number to the list, to delete or to sort or to find out the largest number. So likewise means in procedure oriented, we can use a separate function or procedure to find out the largest number or to sort the list. In object oriented programming, along with that array of 10 numbers, routines or procedures or functions are there, and instead of calling functions separately with the help of program or by controlling the main program, we can ask object to get manipulate itself. This is the one of the advantage of object oriented programming language. So therefore we can conclude that the object oriented programming is task based as well as data based. Okay, so now this is the object oriented programming. Now we have to discuss some features of object oriented programming The very first feature is class. Now what is meant by class? In normal programming, we know integer, float, then string data types. Okay, we can use these data types to perform some operations on variables or data or constants. But there are some other data types which are related to real world. So these real world objects or data type we can't manipulate or we can't operate using these programming integer or float. Then we have to use some real world objects or data types. This feature is provided by class. So class is what? Class is nothing but the property, or class is used to define the property or behavior of the objects. I already told you what is meant by object. Object is what? It is a collection of data and functions which operate on that data. And class is what? Class which provides blueprint or the template that describes the structure and behavior of set of similar objects. Means object is collection of data and function which operate on data, and class is collection of such similar objects. I hope you are getting this point. This is very important concept, this class and object. So now you can just see this example that I have taken. There is one class student. In this class, student class, this student is user defined data type. So in this class there are some variables. Okay, these variables are nothing but roll number, name, course. So what is meaning or what is the execution of this program, that we have to see. But before that I want to just explain what is the concept of class. So these three are the data members of student class, and this show data is a member function of this student class. So class is what? Class is collection of similar objects. So if I create S1 as an object of student class, S1 as an object of this student class, then this S1 object can use these data members and these member functions which can operate on these data members. Okay. Likewise, S1 I can create multiple objects of this student class. So this is nothing but the class and object concept that we'll see in detail how to use or how to implement this program, what is meant by that init function or so and so. So this is nothing but the class concept. Now what is meant by object? So before that we'll once again see this concept, this class. So here roll number, name and course, three data members are there, means variables. If I use S1 as one object of this student class, means with the help of this S1 object I can call or I can access this roll number, name and course of particular student, and I can display it with the help of this show data function, or you can say method. This is also known as method in object oriented. This one you can create the multiple objects. Suppose in your class there are 60 students, then you can create objects from S1 to S60 for the same student class. So in S1 dot roll number you can store the roll number of S1 student, in S2 dot roll number you can store the roll number of that particular, like this. So means for the single class we are going to create the multiple objects. In general we have taken one example of student class and have mentioned that a class is used to create instance known as object. Therefore, if student is a class, then all the 60 students in a course or in a class are the object of the student class. I hope you are getting this concept, what is meant by class and object. Now the next concept is inheritance. Now what is meant by inheritance? Inheritance is a concept of object-oriented programming in which a new class is created from an existing class. A new class, often known as subclass, child class of the parent class. You can observe this diagram. In this diagram, see the second diagram. Here, this is our parent class. This is diagrammatical representation, and this is child class which is created from this parent class. Means child class contains the features of its parent class as well as the features of itself. Means one class, we know one class contains here you can say the class is nothing, class contains variables and member functions which operate on that variables or data members. So if I create another class from the existing class, then that created class has its own features like data members and member function. Along with it has the additional access to its parent class members. It may be data member or member function. So this is nothing but the concept of inheritance. Like if your parent has joint account, then for that account your parent can get the access, or you can also get the access to that particular account. Means on the properties of our parent we have the access, means we are the child of our parents, so we can easily get the access to the properties of our parents. So this is the same concept here, inheritance. This is also known as is-a relationship. So in another diagram you can say our previous example, student, from this is our parent class, and from this parent class I have created this undergraduate student and postgraduate student, two classes. Means these two classes are the child classes of this student parent class. This undergraduate or postgraduate student has its own properties along with the properties of their child class. So this is one of the example of inheritance. So there are 5 types of inheritance. First one is single inheritance. In single inheritance, suppose there is one class, from that class created the another. Okay, so this type of inheritance is known as single inheritance. I will tell you first of all the types of inheritance. First is single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. So single inheritance means there is a child class to the parent class. Only single means, suppose this is our child class, this is child class and this is parent class. This A is child and B is parent class. Okay, in this case A is parent and B is its child class. So this type of inheritance is single inheritance. Now what is multi-level inheritance? This is A, this is B, and this is C. A is a parent of B, B is a parent of C. So this type of inheritance is multi-level inheritance. Now what is multiple inheritance? This is one class, this is another class, and this is child class. So A is one class, B is another class, and C is child class. Means C class has both or two parent class. This type of inheritance is known as multiple inheritance. Now the next type of inheritance is hierarchical inheritance. One class is there A, another is B, and next one is C. Okay, so this type of inheritance is known as hierarchical inheritance. Now what is hybrid inheritance? It is the mixture of multiple and hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so these are the types of inheritance. Now The next concept is polymorphism. What is meant by polymorphism? Poly means many, morphism means form. It is a Greek word, means one name, multiple form. Okay. So if I write like this, a is equal to 2 plus 3, it means a is equal to 5. Okay, means here this particular 2 plus 3 is equal to a. Okay, means 2 and 3, these are the operands and this is the operator. Now here 2 operands are integers, so this operator will work as a addition or plus operation. So 2 plus 3 is 5, so a become 5. Now if I write like this, a is equal to s e. Okay, a is equal to single quote s plus single quote e. Now look at the type of operands. S is string, e is also string. Now this operator will work as a concatenation. Mean the symbol is same but the working is different. In previous example, if a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 3, if I use a plus b, it means it is a 5, means it performs the addition. Means the plus operator will work as a addition, and if I use the same operator between two string operands, then it will work as a concatenation. So this is known as a polymorphism concept. There are two types of polymorphisms: runtime and compile time polymorphism. Okay, so next concept is data abstraction. Now what is meant by data abstraction? Data abstraction refers to the process by which data and functions are defined in such a way that only essential details are displayed to the user and the unnecessary part, or you can say implementation details, are hidden. So real-time example, your television set, you can just switch on or switch off your television set or your TV. You can just change the channel, you can set the volume plus or minus, you can add the external devices to your TV. Okay, so means only essential details are provided to the end user, and all the implementation, means the functionality of the television set is hidden. Means the implementation of, or the implementation details of the TV is hidden, and we are not interested in that. This is a very good example of the data abstraction. What is the next concept? Encapsulation. What is meant by encapsulation? Encapsulation means is a concept of capsule. Capsule means wrapping or packing. Packing of data and function into a single unit is known as encapsulation. This ensures the integrity of the data contained in the object. Okay, so this is very simple concept. Now the next concept is method and message passing. Now what is meant by method? Method is a function associated with the class. Okay, it is a function associated with the class, and we can object communicates via message passing. Okay, what is meant by containership? Containership is the ability of the class to contain objects of one or more classes as a member data. Now what is reusability? Reusability means developing codes that can be reused either in the same program or in the different programs. Okay, and what is meant by delegation? Delegation means to provide maximum flexibility to the programmer and to allow them to generate a reusable code. Object-oriented language also supports delegation. It is also known as a relationship. Now these are the basic features of OOPS or object-oriented programming. So in next video we'll start with the practical or the syntactical concepts of object oriented programming. So to learn these concepts, these basic features, we must have to get clear. So once again I will tell you, you all use your textbook Bhima Thareja and make these all concept, all features clear so that we can go further. Okay, good luck.